Solomon said the busy builder is now live, streaming miniatures. At the busy builder 4071 said you.
Hello. Okay. So you can pick up where we stopped yesterday. Get the green dots on. Work on the rest of him while that dries.
Is that better?
Ooh, yeah. How's everybody's Mondays coming? It's getting there. Actually, I think that's about it. Alright. Let me find my field gray. There we go. And with this, we're going to do the spats. The hat. Where did I touch? Guess it doesn't really matter. Got some of it on my hand, but it wasn't enough to really screw it up. The underside of the brim here. Hey, Almanacs. As far as I'm aware, YouTube chat should be working fine. Yes, grab the item with the wet paint on it. Trying to get this strap here, because that's what holds on the gas mask container. Just the one. Just, it's a pain in the butt, and these things never work like they're supposed to. So after about half an hour of, frustrating circular logins, the option I needed finally showed up, and I was able to complete it, but to me it just feels unnecessary as hell. Just because of that. It's like, what makes you think that I need that? Because a focus group told you? But it's done. It's over. Well, we let him set up for a little bit. I want to start working on the splinter camouflage on this guy. There goes his helmet. I didn't clean up after last night. I just kind of left everything where it was and went upstairs and decompressed. I just really dislike it when stuff like that pops up, especially when I'm busy with something else, and it's like, it completely takes me out of what I'm doing. I hate to say it like that. What color are the streaks on this? Oh, they're a slightly darker green. Okay. Interesting. So how's Monday going so far for you?
At Almanac said I know the feeling. Completely takes your focus away and just questions your so address. Makes it impossible to focus on what you are doing.
Bingo. Yeah, this splinter's gonna take a while, unfortunately. I may only do the helmet first, then continue working on him. The way that guy sounds reminds me of the Bat Metal videos. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. More murder. If you haven't seen those up, you gotta look them up. They're on YouTube. Google or just look up Bat Metal on YouTube. You won't be upset. They're worth it. Come on, stop rolling around. There we go. I'll get a slightly larger brush. This little one's taking a bit too long. They really are. Yeah, I decided to push on and just finish up the seal last night, as you can tell. I'm happy with how it turned out. There's a couple things I would have liked to have done differently. I tried out some 3D printed plants for the more broadleaf plants. I think they look okay, but they're definitely more for wargaming. Then I tried using the reindeer moss or stag moss, whatever they call it, for just some ground filler. Found it at the dollar store, so I didn't mind paying $1 for it. It's been quiet here at least. Woke up to it pissing down rain again.
An almanac said I watched the premiere episode of the Yellowstone spin-off show named Marshall. In it, the lead character's former SEAL team leader shows up. Guess what? Full beard and tight shirt.
Of course. And probably some pretty boy actor playing him too, not somebody who actually looks realistic.
20 said howdy missed y'all yesterday, saw the finished video. Looked like he turned out great.
Thanks, model student.
Camo looks amazing. Congrats.
I'm happy with it. Now we're doing,
An almanac said couldn't stop laughing because I thought of our earlier discussion.
the Vet Bros, yeah.
20 said hi almanac.
Stereotypes exist for a reason. And yeah, that's the vet bro stereotype is just as bad as any other stereotype.
An almanac said hi the model student 20.
Yeah, I'm still fuzzy-headed too. Just I got to sleep at an okay time. Just I didn't set an alarm clock. I just let myself wake up. And the weather's just got me. Yeah.
Can't decide what to start on. I am suffering from option paralysis. Lol.
Usually when that happens, I go to my storage spots of doom, pull things off the shelf, just a whole bunch of them that are somewhat related, and see if anything jumps out or sticks at me as, hey, I could finish this really quick, you know? Believe it or not, that seal was one of those, because I'd started him like year and a half, 2 years ago almost, and then completely just flatlined interest on it. It went from, you know, first day got him excitement to, well, I can work on him later. And then I'm like, nah, fuck it, I'm gonna finish him now. And let me know if there's any kind of weirdness going on. Apparently the rain's causing some internet difficulties in the area.
At the model student 20 said I do have incomplete builds I could finish as well. Build is creeping and grinning face with sweat emojis.
Then go get one. Or get a couple. Like I said, just put a bunch of them on your bench and see which one starts to grab your interest and which one you start working on.
At the model student 20 said focus and osseo are great.
I've got the focus locked within a certain depth. And Ozio, do I need to start speaking like this here? Oh wait, that's more London.
At the model student 20 said audio.
Aussie's a more British accent with a country flair to it. No, that's still British sounding. I can't do Aussie today apparently. My Aussie matrix is broken.
At the model student 20 said check 123 check 123 rolling on the floor laughing emoji.
But at least I'm not like some tech streamer who has to have his mouth right by his microphone all the time for fear of people hearing how he actually sounds.
At the model student 20 said I have put up with mic checks for 35 years rolling on the floor laughing emoji.
It's harder to do the splinter over all of the wrinkles. But I'm trying my beast. It's kind of working. We'll make it work eventually. Looks like there's a couple different variations on this scheme. Some are yellower, some are grayer. I'm going with the yellow sand-based one, though. I still got to do the green pass. If I need to, I'll add more brown after that. Gonna let that dry. Oh shit, I pulled the stud right out of his foot. Oh well. I'll glue it back in later. Alright. So we were wondering how this was going to go after I did the wash. I kind of feel I need to get the uniform out of the way now before I do the rest. Kind of like I did on the seal. I got the uniform done and started working on it, and then I did all the added details. Get our bespoke oil paint palette and drop it on the floor. Get my arthritic fingers to pick up a brush off the mat. Wonderful. We're a quarter of the way there. And let's probe the paint to see if it's skinned over or if it's still viable as is. Skinned over a little bit, but there's enough there left for me to do what I need to do. Excellent. Oh, fuck-a-doodle-doo. Huh? Okay, let's see how this darkens down. Come on, get stainy there. Thing is, even on the seal, even after the first wash and the first highlight pass, I still went back with more selective washes and pulled out more of the folds and creases. You know, I do that all the time too, right? You're describing just about every model builder out there. So I got a really stupid idea for a model I want to do. I think it might work just because of how Tamiya and Academy broke the parts down on theirs. But I wanted to do a post Desert Storm M1, M2A1, M2A2, where it's got the flatter armor on the side. No, he's just held in by a paperclip. My finger's holding him down. So I wanted to get the Bradley with the interior that Academy made, or even Tamiya made one. But when they did the M2A2 and M2 or M3A2, they used the same base hull, but just added the extra armor parts. I wanted to do the A1A2, but with an interior, and that never got released. So I was thinking if I could find both kits cheap enough, combine the two, and that way I'd still have, you know, the early version and the late version as a buildable kit, just I'd be putting the interior from the early version into the next version. I just don't know if it would be doable or not. At least that's the idea. We'll see. As I've been saying for the past couple weeks, I've got enough to build. I don't need any more big shit projects like that right now. And I really need to work on stuff off stream a little more just to get ahead on things. So, most people would be okay with having that deep shadow right there on top. That's the very top of his head. That wouldn't be there. It would show as darker once you start highlighting it, but it wouldn't have that buildup in there. It could have dirt there, but it wouldn't have that. Okay. And while that dries, we'll get to putting the green on the splinter. No. I just want to get some shit done. I've been staring at some of these boxes on my storage shelves for a couple years now, and they're just taking up space. I want to get rid of them. I don't hoard kits. I'm not one of those guys to just collect them and let them sit there. I buy them to build them, and if I'm not building them, then why did I buy it? Okay, there's not as much green. Okay. I'm not one of those guys who buys 10 versions of the same kit, builds one and puts the other 9 on his shelf going, they're gonna go up in price soon. No. The enjoyment for me is building them, not collecting them. But no deadline, just a personal want to get stuff kind of finished up, put away. Got a few prints that I've done that I haven't painted yet. You know, just different little things here and there. And I don't build for shows. I build for fun, and if I wind up putting something into a contest, if it gets something, cool. If it doesn't, cool. I'm not going to be like the guy at the model club that I used to go to in Florida that, oh, my model didn't win in the contest, so I'm going to throw it out at the contest. Like, straight into the trash can, throw it out, right there. People like that disgust me. Because then it's not about the hobby.
At Almanac said no worries. Just curious if you were an active convention participant. You must have been at least. Just going on the views you've been building.
Not so much.
Cloud 5 Outfitters said first time stumbling upon this page. Dope work.
Thank you, Cloud. Yeah, nothing really finished here except for this guy over here. I finished him last night.
At Almanac said oh, you addressed it just after I pressed send.
Yeah, I find if you want to get burnt out, build for contests. If you want to lose interest, build for contests. Because when you do that, you are keeping your expectations and your skills at such a high amplitude that you don't allow yourself just to say, fuck it, I'm gonna have fun. And from then on out, every build is, I have to have every decal exactly in place. I have to have every paint color perfectly matching the federal standard charts. There's no more room for error. There's no more room for happy accidents, and there's no more fun. So yeah, if you want to build for contests, that's fine. Go ahead. That's your jam. Do it. But those who expect everybody else to want to build to that standard are sorely mistaken. You know? And unfortunately, it is a stigma that's coming back into the hobby a bit more. That's why I like channels like Max's Models. He just builds for the fun of it. I never see him saying, well, I've got to have this perfect, or I've got to have this exactly accurate, you know? And I don't know how many people I've seen say, oh, well, I build for fun, but the building for the contest is part of the fun. Yeah, it is. You know? But I also see those same people, you know, a month later, oh, I'm taking a break from the hobby, guys. It's taken up so much of my time and I'm just burnt out and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, well, when's the last time you just built for the fuck of it? And I've said it all the time on here. I build to the best of my ability. You guys have seen me do some stinkers. You guys have seen me do some that are like, holy crap, how did I do that? I want to do that again. And I have fun doing both ways mostly. But I don't hold myself, you know, hostage by saying this has to be the perfect ultimate representation that other people will use for a reference for centuries to come. Nah. That's just arrogance. Find what's fun in it for you. But don't expect everybody else to find that same funness. And also resist the urge to backseat model. There's other builders that have watched their channels that, you know, they're getting their results, and I have my opinions on that, and I'll voice my opinion on the technique, but I won't barge into the builder's channel going, well, you could have done this. No, that's for them to want to do, and me to leave them to do it. Can I discuss it? Yes, but I'm not going to sit there and invade their space doing that. I don't appreciate it. I don't go into other people's places and go, well, why didn't you do that? Somebody did that to me once. I went into his stream, he was watching me build the chaparral, and he's like, well, why'd you leave the grills on it? I'm like, because I fucking wanted to. And needless to say, I don't go into that person's stream much anymore. Because, you know, I don't go into theirs saying, well, why didn't you order the Edward photo etch set to fix this? Because that's neither here nor there. Oh, you can count them all you like, but just understand, you know, there's 3 words that, you know, the great Martin Riggs said once. Actually, 4 words. I don't give a fuck. If I want to challenge myself by making something more correct, then I'll do it. But I'm not going to rebuild an entire model just because one rivet's out of place, like I've seen some do. I'm probably putting more green on here than there needs to be. Because with camouflage, the way you get it to look mostly good is there's kind of a balance of thirds. Yeah, just a little more green. Because the green is going to become the dominant color because all the little raindrops. Well, there's somebody that other streamers mention in here quite often that did that to me, which is why I don't go to their streams anymore. Because it's not fun. It feels antagonistic. Now, it's different if somebody asks for an idea on something. What could I do to change this, you know? Then, yes, you expect answers, you expect different things. But when the question was never put out there, and the model is already finished, what good does it do to bring that up, aside from being antagonistic? Actually, I can use that Revell F15 I just finished as an example. Why did I get the aftermarket I did for it? I put Aries exhaust and cockpit in it, right? Why did I do that? Because I worked on them. And to me, it wasn't as much about accuracy. It was about... Oh yeah. But having worked on them, I felt the exhaust was a bit flatly detailed. And the cockpit, while the details in it weren't wrong, it was empty. It was very spacious for what it was. And I wanted to get that cramped feel that I know it had when I was working on them. So I got the exhaust kit, and it met my needs. And I got the cockpit kit, and it looks better. Is it accurate? I don't fucking know. But it looks better. There's other things wrong with the model, but I left them as is. I just wanted to get that feeling that I knew from my experience on it. And that's really why I'll detail something up like that, is because I want it to feel right. It doesn't have to be exactly right, but I want it to feel right. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's why I'll do something like that. It's like there's a certain cramped quality, a certain weight to something that I want to try and convey. But that's not to say people who like doing that are wrong in doing it. If that's what makes them happy, that's what makes them happy. Just don't enforce that outlook on others.
At the model, student 20 said, "Hi Mr. Critter, welcome."
Like, I'm sure you guys have seen all those reels on your feeds where it shows the guy painting the figures and then he's slathering the red, yellow, and blue wash, for lack of a better description, over it, but you don't really see the results from that on it. Because there's steps missing. But that's just their way of painting. But it's being presented as, this is how you do it now, guys. How about no? Yeah, outside of the very basic rules of competitions, too. So, I could build an FW190, right? Fill all the seams, paint it, perfectly, put the decals on it perfectly, and we're talking out of the box here, right? Just straight out of the box. But here's the thing, I could swap out one of the camouflage colors for pink. That's not disqualifying. Nowhere in the rules is accuracy a determining factor of judging. It's fit, finish, and overall quality. As long as that pink paint is laid on nice and even and smooth, and there's no silvering on the decals under it, and the finish is all fine and dandy, the judges can fucking suck a dick. And they have to eat that pride and ego, because that pink painted Focke-Wulf is better painted than the correct one 2 feet away from it on the table, because the person who did the correct one just happened to have a little bit of silvering, or they got some clumpies in their paint, or something else. But since the pink one is painted to a higher standard, by the rules, it is the legit better model in that category, and should be judged and placed as such. Same thing with bases. If you want to have a nice little... Wow, that's just coming right off. Good thing we're putting highlights there. If your base isn't up to snuff, especially if it's a non-diorama subject, I could enter this figure on this base as it is, right? Would it look ugly? Yes. They can't judge that. All it's doing is making him stand. That's it. Bases are not part of the judging criterion. That's why all these accuracy hounds make me laugh so much, because they, especially if they're doing like an out-of-the-box build, because you can correct minor things as long as you're not using aftermarket. You can put your own rivet decals and stuff like that on. But at the same time, that introduces more for them to look at, too. So every time you add something to a model, just remember, that introduces more that can be done wrong. Exactly, model student. You've hit that nail on the head. There's people doing techniques on figures, and it's kind of like the whole micro blotting with the airbrush that they're doing lately. 99% of it disappears by the time they're done painting it, and you're left wondering, okay, but what was the point? And why is my voice thing not working? Refresh. Okay. And that's what I've said from the beginning, is I see a lot of wasteful techniques out there now. And a lot of it is honestly being done as filler for all these videos that are popping up on people's feeds. These very, honestly, arrogant videos, too. If you look at the names they put in their titles, it's just... wow, yeah. But, like, a good example of, like, proper behavior is, like, Model Student, when he's building his, you know, like, his big helicopter diorama. The only thing I suggested, just from what I've seen and my own experience, is less is more. So maybe streamline the story he's trying to tell. You know? But that's it. I'm not going to tell him to change how he's doing what he's doing, because it's his to do. But that's the only change I'd make, is the whole scene feels very busy. But if that's the way he wants it, that's the way he wants it. So I'm trying to very lightly go over with the original cork brown, just to catch some highlights. And you'll notice I'm trying to mainly go top to bottom. Because I've seen dioramas where too much can be just as bad as not enough.
At the model student 20 said it's still on the go, it's definitely not getting any larger. That's
yeah.
grinning face with sweat emoji.
Yeah, this is kind of blending everything a bit better. I might add just a touch of sand just to lighten it a little bit, but I'm not going to go too much brighter. I definitely don't want to kill the camo pattern. No, that's exactly how I presented it. Is, hey, here's my thoughts based on what I see, and yeah, I told him this during a live stream, and yeah, he heard and understood, and I'm like, cool, but that's your diorama. You know, he's here right now, so he knows. He wouldn't be here if I'd pissed him off. Oh, you need to get that new 35th scale Kamov kit. But ultimately, it's his to build, it's his to deal with, and it's his to be happy with, you know. It's not my place to say, you're bad. You're not doing this right. Yeah, I think Trumpeter just released the alligator in 35th scale.
At the model student 20 said, oh no, far from this, it is a real concern. You can get tunnel vision and lose perspective easily.
Mm-hmm. And it's what a lot of it's what a lot of first-time diorama builders do. and this isn't you in particular, model student. I see it. I used to see it in the clubs and with other people in the online forums back in the day. Is they would try and throw every idea into the scene without realizing that they've overfilled it, you know? And that's all I was trying to get at. It's not like you're the... Now, we're talking 89, 88, 89 here. The diorama's got some traction and fine-scale modeler, as they should have. Somebody did some, Paris invasion dioramas. But it was like entire city blocks of Paris with the invading Germans, people in the windows of the buildings, cats cleaning their buttholes in the gutters on the back sides. But the model was meant to be looked at from every single direction. So there was a lot going on, but at no time did the entire scene feel overbuilt, you know? So it can work, you just have to have the right balance. And that's really all I was suggesting, is just a little bit of balance. Yes, balance one must have. Okay, that sand didn't work out well. Hey, George. It really does.
George Davis 7629 said hi student. At the model student 20 said hi George.
And that's for anyone wanting to do like dioramas and scenes.
At the model student 20 said kiss theory always works.
Like the one with the half track, right? That I'm throwing together. It's more of a vignette, but it can qualify as a diorama as per contest rules, right? It's going to have more than 5 figures and it's telling a story. But it's a very simple story of how the guy in the half track is giving the command to the guy on the ground, telling him smoke break's over. And everybody else is either lighting their cigarettes or, like in the case of this guy, he's turning around to tell him, hey guys, let's go. But somebody else might think, okay, then I need guys running on the other side of the half track to convey urgency and this and that. I'm like, no, not always. The actions don't complement each other. So in that case, you wouldn't want that, because then you would overpower the scene with, okay, you've got guys over here calmly smoking, and meanwhile you've got guys over here running like they're in Kharkov, and there's a T-34 coming down the street. You know? And I think I'm starting to lose the pattern there on the sleeve. Gotta ease up a little bit. Yeah, that's it. I'm not doing anything more. I'll come back with the dark brown acrylics and pop some shadows. I still have to do his shoulder belts and things like that, so there's other things that'll help bring some definition back out in the uniform still. And I'm glad I held off on doing his shoes, because I'm rubbing the paint off his gaiters.
George Davis 7629 said hey Almanac.
Sorry I bumped the mic. Are you going to be taking it to the contest you were talking about?
At the model student 20 said I enjoy them not believing I built it rolling on the floor laughing emoji.
Yeah, I used to enjoy it when I would take my stuff to the club meetings.
Tears of joy emoji face with tears of joy emoji.
And it was a compliment when people would ask, hey, what filters or pigments or this or that did you use? But then it got annoying because then it told me that people think you can't get the results without using those things. And that's kind of what got me on the whole, the whole hate wagon for those products.
I thought about taking my PG Zachary. It's good and easy to transport.
Because people aren't seeing that, hey, this person is using skills anymore. They're seeing, oh, hey, this person used this bottle of crap. And it's kind of disheartening now. Yeah, that's about as far as I want to go on that. I was starting to lose the dots there. Trying to have a slightly damp brush.
Said I like how you show how easily it can be done, just understanding the mediums and applying them in practice.
And that's all you need to do. But that also helps build your own skill set and how many other applications you can use that in. It's not just for specific things. And don't get me ranting on that again. I know George loves it when I do. Yeah, I'm probably going to have to come back by with the liner and just start plucking out some of the smaller details on this after I put the highlight in. But yeah, it went from kind of being a compliment to becoming an insult because people just didn't think that anyone had the ability to do that anymore. And it's like, wait, what?
At Almanac, said George. I thought you meant old school Dunkler for a second. At the model student 20 said it's easy to make model building and painting seem like wizardry to us noobs. We are easily influenced in the beginning.
But that's why I am so strong about books.
Sweat emoji.
Books, books, books. Because they are a constant, unchanging reference that you can always go back to. They don't have to change their paint formulas every 5 months to remarket it to you because sales have slowed down. Or come up with a new name paint line because sales have slowed down.
RS_studio said hi.
Hey, Ars. Are you at home or at work? There we go. Not so high on the highlight there.
RS_studio said home.
Okay. Taking care of the pupper? Or just not feeling well? We need a new stream goal, guys. What can it be?
RS_studio said yay, pupper.
Hell yeah, yay, pupper. See, how did you know that, Almaox? I didn't mention any company names. Heaven forbid.
RS_studio said wearing me out.
You were the one that wanted a pupper.
RS_studio said I know. RS_studio said thought Dixie and her could be playmates.
Does Dixie still have the energy? And are they at least getting along?
RS_studio said a little.
Okay.
At Almanac said gee, I wonder why I thought of them. At the model student 20 said puppers are a new lease on life they're short.
I mean, did I just describe a shady business tactic so well that you were automatically able to infer the company I was discussing from that? And the the two other companies owned by the same individual who created it?
Studio said they played like crazy yesterday. Today not so much.
They're probably both just tired. Okay. So here's where a lot of people stop. They just dry brush it, call it good.
At the model student 20
Ah.
said he's made dogs that die rolling on the floor laughing emoji. RS_studio said Dottie wants to play. Dixie not so much.
Oh, Dixie's how old?
RS_studio said so looking into puppy daycare. At Almanac said nah. Must be pure coincidence. Face with tears of joy emoji. RS_studio said she's 9, so up there.
Yeah, she's still got a couple years left, but kind of like Mittens and Marbles. They're the next youngest.
7BK said hello busy.
Hey, Alex, where the hell have you been?
From Denmark. Alex.
I haven't seen you in like 2 weeks. Hope you've been alright. So,
The model student 20 said hi Leo and Laura.
beginning to think I'd said something to make you unhappy so you weren't coming around anymore. Because, you know, I have a tendency to do that to people.
At the model student 20 said hi Alex. At Almanac said hi Alex.
Aren't I? I mean, I can be if I need to, but... I've learned when those kind of people start spreading their wordage around, it's easier just to click the bye-bye button than it is to argue with them. I've had some people make smarmy comments on shorts and stuff before. I just click hide content. Don't like doing it, but if you're gonna come in and be a dick, well, bye-bye. So, Alex, regale us with tales of where you have been.
At the model student 20 said, just terrible, it's awful. I'm worse, so don't worry. My general are probably illegal rolling on the floor laughing emoji. At the model student 20 said, rolling on the floor laughing emoji, just kidding. At Leo 2A7BK said, no, no, no. Have some personal things to struggle with. And missed being here.
No, I get it.
Tone between us.
I hope you're doing okay. I know somebody else that I know in the military vehicle community was just in hospital recently. I think he was just doing some physical therapy, but still, it's concerning when, you know, they're older than I am. But I'm happy he's doing okay. He just got he got out a few days ago. Yeah, but you see how I use the dry brushing to kind of pull the detail out? And now I go back with the actual highlight colors. And based on what the dry brushing did, allows me to read where the highlights and details should go further. There's 2 details on the hat I am not going to paint on stream, though. They'll be there on the final round table, rotisserie view. But I won't focus on them too closely. But in order to paint them, I've got to focus on them. And that is a little guy in there. Yeah, a little smiling guy with some crossbones. And the wonderful eagle sitting above it. And Dragon so wonderfully included certain details in there that I've got to be careful when showing them. Well, I'm glad you're still here with us, Alex. You don't have to get into details if you don't want to. But just let it be known that we were wondering where you were. Your absence had not gone unnoticed. I even took a week off work to stream, figuring you'd be here. I like how that hat's coming out. I'm gonna go a bit brighter on my flesh tone base. I think the seal turned out a bit too pale. So the highlights didn't look as highlight.
The model student 20 said, no, we did MSS. Y'all glad you're able to be here. RS_studios asks, so is this figure for something or just a figure?
Just the figure. I was just reminded that it existed when I was doing the smaller version for the half track, and I figured I'd just get it and bring it up.
Smiling face with open hands emoji, smiling face with open hands emoji, face savoring food emoji. Is it also a 1/16 Vietnam special with a stoner in the corner?
I'm playing with me 5-inch soldier.
Almanac said, with claiming that you're playing with your 5-inch soldier count as a smarty comment. Face with tears of joy emoji, face with tears of joy emoji.
Oh, that's not even 5 inches. Thanks for the compliment. We need to set up a new stream goal, though. Something to work toward. I know on the YouTube side.
The model student 20 said, last time I started with pink, then a series of brown washes. It was quick and worked well. That was only 1/35 though.
Yeah, I have a technique I like that works for me.
Joy emoji, face with tears of joy emoji.
I've got so many various flesh tones, it's ridiculous.
Leo 2A7BK said, you can always print a bigger one.
No, this guy's actually a plastic kit made by Dragon. I've got a few of these on the way, actually. I've got another MG42 gunner, but he's walking more of like a kind of stance. And I've got the
At Almanac said,
Delta Force guy.
Emperor of the local Walmart.
No, I can't fight that guy. He's a bit ridiculous. But ones I'd like to get, they're still in the kind of 30-40 range.
RS_studios asks,
I don't know, Aries. Just something to work towards. I mean, everybody knows I'm saving up to get the Humvee, but that's more a personal thing than I don't want the stream being responsible for that. Kind of like, what project would you like to see next? I could figure out the cash amount. We could put up donations for that or something. I don't know. Because I'm starting to finish things up again, and I want to start planning for the next project. But there's the Feldgendarme ones that have the horses in 16th scale. I was looking at those on eBay recently. But I'm going to have to wait on those anyway. I don't know. I'm just thinking of things out loud lately. Because we've got good momentum. I mean, hell, the YouTube side got 100 subs in less than 2 months. And I'm just trying to figure out what I can do to keep that going and keep the interest and all that. Like, Like, the military stuff does well on shorts as well, but I can't go just building this all the time. I'll slowly start to lose interest and run out of things. Oh, you remember how we were talking about those Firefly shorts that Nathan Fillion had been doing? How he went up to Miranda Baccarin and the other actresses. He still hasn't done Jewel State, but he's done a third one. I think the actor was Sean Marr, the doctor, River's brother. So there's definitely something going on the Firefly front.
At Almanac said you're kidding me.
Nope. Look up his Instagram profile. They're there. And that's just the one I saw. He could have done the others already, and I just don't know it. I haven't been following too closely. I just, as they pop up. Yeah, he's just done the 3. So there's definitely something coming. Ow. Alright, let's get these ammo pouches painted up. Ow, 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 ow. It better not be an April Fool's thing either, because we haven't hit April 1st yet. I remember when I was downrange and I introduced Ares to the Serenity film. And for weeks after, if things weren't going right, be like, what in the sphincter hell is going on around here? I still use that phrase from time to time at work, and nobody gets it. I'm just wondering what they're going to do for a storyline. Especially if Joss Whedon isn't involved, because the original series was supposed to go on for multiple seasons and slowly introduce the Reavers and what they were, culminating in the events of what became the Serenity film. But Joss Whedon decided to fast track that into the film because they weren't able to finish the show. So, what are they going to do for a show now? And they better not just be in like one episode handing the ship off to somebody else. No. Back to the thin long brush.
Studios said, I think it's just a 3-part miniseries that's in the works.
Yeah. Even if it is, it's better than zero. While that dries, I'm going to start plucking out more of the shadow areas using the black or the dark gray acrylic, because this stuff goes on real light. It looks dark when you apply it, but it stays real light when it dries. But I want to pluck out the straps for his shoulder harness first and his belt. Hey, remember this? Battlestar Galactica started out as a mini-series, and it became a 4-season long thing.
If it is good, and a rating success, it could become more. Remember Shogun? At the model, student 20 said the story? It will revolve around a female superpowered space savior, I bet.
Oh, they've already got that. Her name's River. Ah, fuck a doodle.
At Almanac said, ooh, need to watch Battlestar again. Model student 20 said, rolling on the floor laughing emoji, predictable Hollywood grinning face with sweat emoji.
Yeah.
Studios said the original Battlestar.
The original Battlestar, I hate to say, even as a kid, I didn't like it. Because of how corny it was. I know, people are going to want to kill me for saying it, but that's what it is. But the new Battlestar also finished. there's a lot of stuff people really missed in the new one, too. And I don't mean like Easter eggs and things like that, just really, really subtle shit in the background.
Battlestar was corny, but that was its charm. It didn't take itself seriously at all.
That, and it got plagiarized by everybody else out there. Roger Corman used Battlestar footage in God knows how many of his movies. I can't know that!
Sexy aliens. Yes. Rolling on the floor laughing emoji. Studios said I had a huge crush on her.
Oh, Jewel State?
At Almanac said exact reply. Face with tears of joy emoji. Face with tears of joy emoji.
The thing about Jewel State, out of all the actors on that show, everybody else has grown up, you know. Nathan Fillion still looks the same, just older. Same as Sean Marr. And even Summer Glau, her facial structure is just not the same. And I don't mean from surgery or anything, she grew up. Jewel State doesn't even look the same. The only one that does is Morena, and I seriously think she's a vampire. Or there is a painting in her attic getting older. Because she hasn't aged. But Jewel State actually looks like she grew up into being a woman, where she looked younger in the series. Same with, well, no, I think Keanu Reeves finally saw his painting because he's getting older. But he was doing the same thing. He just stopped aging for about 20 years. See, shows you how many people here got the Dorian Gray joke. See, that's where Battlestar and the new Battlestar and Firefly are good, I think. Especially Firefly. The budget limitations kept this show from getting mired in spacey stuff. Like, yeah, the ship was always there in space and stuff like that, but it was just where it happened. It wasn't everything had to happen in space, you know. And did anybody recognize Starkiller in the new Battlestar Galactica? Sam Witwer was a Raptor pilot in the new Galactica for the first couple seasons. Or what do they wind up actually calling him? Galen Merrick? In the games. But that's just it. That it makes the series more interesting if the world isn't explained to you. So that's why I hope Firefly works in this day and age when everybody needs to have things explained. I mean, how many times on YouTube do we see videos? The end of Alien explained. The end of Star Wars explained. The end, you know.
Yeah. Sam Witwer played Lieutenant Alex, Crashdown, or Tararo.
Yep, I noticed that on my first watch through decades ago. That may look pretty dark going on, but it actually evens out a lot. Yeah, Sam Witwer was also the dead tank crew member in the opening episodes of The Walking Dead. Because if the original director had had his way, there would have been flashback episodes with that character explaining how he wound up there. There goes my ankle. Snippity snap. Yeah, the creases are starting to pop out more now. I like that.
Had Almanac said in Captain Kirk in 765,874 unification.
That was a fan film project, though. Unfortunately. I do like that he's a big enough Star Wars nerd that he was able to correct Dave Filoni. I think it was Dave Filoni. When they were making Clone Wars episodes. Because there was a major screw-up coming if he hadn't. I wouldn't say major, it depends on how important that stuff is to the viewer. But there was a continuity screw-up coming if he hadn't spoken up.
Had Almanac said Sam Witwer has low-key had parts in every major franchise.
In one way or another, yeah. And supposedly, in Ahsoka Season 2, he's playing Starkiller.
Had Leo 2A7BK said yeah, everything has to be explained today. No room for being confused after a movie.
Well,
That's a fun part of it.
that that
Just happened.
that whole everything needing to be explained is also what's leading to the rash of bad films like Prometheus and Alien Covenant, in that people can't be satisfied with, oh hey, there's this ancient ship filled with this crap that caused all this. That's all you need to know. They want that ancient ship explained. They want who created those eggs explained. It's like, oh my god, just let it be. The ending of Titanic explained. No, I think the movie spelled it out pretty fucking well. The reason I'm brushing this on is these would have a slight shadow effect to them with the light coming down from above. Right now I've just got them highlighted, but there's no shadow underlayer. And this stuff goes on and dries so thin that I can really take advantage of that.
Said gamers need everything explained in detail.
No, they don't. I'm guessing you meant gamers. Maybe modern gamers? But I'm sorry, that's what made Silent Hill fun when I was playing it the first time back in 98, 99. Is that it didn't explain everything. That's part of what made it fun. Yeah, look how those wrinkles pop on that leg now. When that dries,
Model student 20 said character backstories became monologues.
I call that the Tarantino effect. That kind of shit really started with his films, where there's a lot of stuff going on, but one of his characters at some point in the film always starts monologuing about something dumb.
At the model student 20 said millennials.
No, I wouldn't even say millennials. They're given a pretty hard rap.
20 said nice gams.
Steamboat Willie, toot toot. Oh wait, I'm thinking Saving Private Ryan. Betty Grable, nice scams. But essentially I'm using this Vallejo wash like a glaze, since it goes on very thin and very translucent. That's in focus, okay.
At Almanac said no one in The Last of Us explained where the virus originated. It was just what broke the world, and now you're living with the consequences of that event in the game.
Subsequent DLCs and comics and graphic novels have tried to explain it, but you're right, that's what makes it work in that world, is you don't know where it came from. And you don't need to know, this is just where you are now.
At the model student 20 said it just seems that most action films feel like a game trailer now.
Because most action films, you see all the shit in the trailers. And it's usually accompanied by some cover of a song where the beat hits really hard, and they have action beats hitting just as hard with that song, and it's really annoying as fuck.
Play a little Metal Gear and try to snap the plot from the start.
Ach, indeed. I still have the Twin Snakes for the GameCube. Yeah, my Metal Gear Rex kit won't be here till May 11th, but it's worth the wait. I can't get it any cheaper. I have not taken a break yet, and it's been 2 hours. So I need to take a stand-up and move around break here momentarily, guys.
At the model student 20 said a day after my D-Day.
Alright, I will be back, and we will begin working on his face and on the magazine pouches. So I'll be right back.
At Almanac said, but a movie doesn't need a story rivaling the 16th Chapel's paintings to be good. Look at Saving Private Ryan, the thinnest plot possible, but epic events and engaging characters.
Alright, I'm back. I had to go get a snack. I was feeling a little... Ooh. But you are also correct in that films don't always need to be some deep, meaningful, world-changing event. Not everything has to be Avatar. Not everything has to be Gone with the Wind or anything like that. But that's also another issue. And it hit me the other day, not from film, from music.
At the model student 20 said agreed snack was needed.
And I refer to it like, is X group or X song good because it's actually good, or because they say it is? Like, a lot of Led Zeppelin, I think, falls into the category of they say it is. Same thing, I hate to say, a lot of Queen. I personally don't really enjoy that rock opera tonal whiplash you get from most Queen songs. There's a few good ones out there, don't get me wrong. But it's not like... What makes music good to me is the context it has in your own life. Like, people always equate In the Air Tonight with Miami Vice. I have a similar connection, but the song just hits me differently for some similar reasons. But for me, it's more about context. I won't willy-nilly say, oh, this is a great group, just because everybody else is. Why did I suddenly sound like Goofy? Gosh! No, wow, that face is starting to just pop from that. Holy crap. Look at that.
Model student 20 said I think that was why the first Guardians of Galaxy hit so hard it managed to come off like it wasn't taking itself too seriously. Clean sheer heart attack is the only one for me. At Almanac asks, is it actually good or just trendy, popular, kind of thing?
You know, I'll give the first two Guardians kind of a pass on that, because they did have serious stories, but again, they never once hid that they were from a completely non-serious comic book. I haven't seen Guardians 3, so I can't really comment on that, but that's also when the Marvel burnout period was starting for a lot. But I'll give the first two Guardians films that kind of credit, because yes, they were fun, they were enjoyable, and outside of a couple things here and there, never once took themselves more serious than the comic book film they were intended to be.
At the model student 20 said, yeah, I did washes over paint and it was like magic.
Well, I've never used the Vallejo Earth Wash for this purpose, so I'm trying something a little bit different. But so far, it's really agreeing. I still got to adjust it here and there, but it's playing nice. Obviously, we'll be going back and plucking, but I like how it's giving the face kind of like a dirty look. And that's another thing a lot of other, military figure painters miss, is they paint these very clean, gradiated faces. They're never dirty.
I didn't enjoy the third one much. The Christmas special was the best thing on TV in more than a decade.
I've never been a staunch follower of Marvel stuff. I watch them at my convenience, not because everybody else is watching them. Never saw any of them in the theaters. Never bought into that kind of hype. Um, I felt Captain America was flat and dull.
Said all these things are based on personal feelings. I have never been a big Beatles fan. They made some fine music, but some of my friends thought I was demented.
I'm right there with you on the Beatles, believe it or not. And I guess for the Beatles, it was really you had to be there at that time, right? Unless you were there in the 60s after the doldrums of what the 50s wound up being and what the 60s were turning into, the Beatles hit at the right time. Now, with our own experience in life, the Beatles, no, they're not our music. I can see how they were taken as such, though. At the time they were done. Same thing with Nine Inch Nails. Most kids these days don't like it. I know a few adults who don't like Nine Inch Nails these days. I like them. They hit the light. Anyway. I started listening to them at the right point, at the right time. I was able to enjoy the music, you know.
Julius471 said hello everyone.
Hey, Julius. But yeah, this guy's starting to pop to life. I'm probably going to finish him off stream during the course of the week. We'll either do this guy next stream on Sunday, or we'll work on the Delta Force Commando. The Black Hawk Down Arrow one. I'll figure it out. I'm just trying to keep my personal momentum going, too. I forgot to paint the bread bag when I had this paint out earlier. You know, Ministry, The Mind is a Terrible Thing to Taste was a cool album. I'm not gonna lie. But once they started doing all the sampling and stuff, more like New World Order and their further albums, kind of like, what was that group? Kind of like Stabbing Westward. They kind of lost what made you like them. Stabbing Westward's first album was like, holy shit! And then with their self-named album and My Brush Just Went Flying, and with that and Wither, Blister, Burn, Peel, there's a couple... God damn it. There's a couple good songs on those albums, but the rest was meandering, whiny, post-breakup emo stuff. Frontline Assembly's good. Prong, Assemblage 23. Skinny Puppy. But I like all those because I think it's because I was able... They weren't pushed on me by friends, right? I wasn't listening to them because of peer pressure or repetition on the radio or anything like that. I'm going to have to look that one up. But I think the reason I have the music preferences and tastes that I do is because I didn't follow that peer pressure for music. I kind of just found them on my own, you know? Like, I'd be like, oh, what's this? And while I'm in the CD store, I'd be like, hey, what's this? And I'd take it over to the sampler thing and bloop, and I'd be like, ooh, that's different. I like that. Meanwhile, my friends are sitting there listening to Kurt Cobain, and here I am listening to, like, fucking Front 242 and Skinny Puppy and all these other things.
At the model student 20 said babies on fire and driving me backward will flip you out fair shore.
But I also like stuff like Phil Collins, Peter Gabriel, you know, the stuff they were doing in the 80s and 90s. It's not all always heavy and intense all the time. But that's what's making music, and this goes back around to what I was talking about that I listened to. Yes, their first couple albums good, after that they lost it. Mm-hmm. Nitzareb, yep. Family Man. But this is going back around to what I kind of noticed that makes modern music not so... what's the word I'm looking for? It doesn't have the longevity. Because everyone is trying to make their music always be epic. I did that as well, because the soundtracks would have what you were looking for. 1994, not Pretty Hate Machine. Downward Spiral's been out for a while, but no new Nine Inch Nails is really coming out. The Crow comes out. Oh, hey, they just did a cover of Dead Souls. Bam. And there's also some, I think there's Machines of Loving Grace on there. Stone Temple Pilots had a new one on there. The Cure. You know, there was some good stuff on that soundtrack. It wasn't just because of the rock, emo, goth stuff. That soundtrack had some legit music that you couldn't find on other albums at the time, so you had to get it. A lot of movie soundtracks were that way back then. There was music specifically for the movie. Sometimes it got lucky enough to get airtime, other times it didn't. But our boss likes to play certain radio stations, and all the modern music these days just sounds like shit. And what I mean by that is everything's trying to be epic all the time. There's no quiet music anymore. It's all, I'm great, I'm unstoppable, I'm powerful, put my armor on. You know, it's like, no. Or that stomp, clap, hey bullshit.
The model student 20 said James Bond theme is still my fave.
Which version? John Barry or the newer ones from Eric Serra? Ha-ha! I think it was License to Kill was the last James Bond film scored by John Barry.
You may adore them, but their original will never be able to compete with the Johnny Cash cover of Earth.
To me, it will. simply because...
haunted my wet dreams a lot.
simply because...
At the model student 20 said, I am a musician. I have seen it seriously devolve since 81 John Barry Fair Short.
Yeah. Part of that was due to Trent Reznor understanding what he was going through at the time. Or did you not know he was doing some serious drugs back then? And that's a very personal song for him. And seeing that I encountered that song long before Johnny Cash covered it in his repentant days, it always speaks more of that kind of personal recovery for me than Johnny Cash in his fading years. Because it's still a deeply personal song for Trent Reznor. Even if he says, oh, he prefers Johnny Cash's version, that's fine, he can. But I have the perspective of where I discovered it from. I know he was. But we all have the perspective of where we discover these certain things from. And Hurt was a sign of its times, the 90s. Which he's fine to say that, but I still prefer the original version over Johnny's version. But I also remember it coming out, at least from my perspective, when there was a very large teen suicide problem going on in the country back in 93. 92, 93 was a pretty rough time. Sorry, clearing out my messenger. And that's fine. But for conversation's sake, I don't. But like I said, we all have a different perspective on how we encountered that song, so it's different for all of us. Okay. Alright. Ew. What? Are you having a stroke while typing, model student?
At Almanac said, well, you're wrong. Then face with tears of joy emoji, face with tears of joy emoji. No, we will just agree to disagree.
Well, just like there's people that prefer the original edit of Closer. I hate that version.
At the model student 20 said, yep, finger terrets rolling on the floor laughing emoji. Aris_studio said that.
Welcome back. Let's see. Hold on, I'm gonna try and find it. Yeah, the radio edit of Closer is junk.
20 said all the powers off a well-selected watch.
I don't want to say the radio edit, but the release edit. I just want to make sure I'm getting the right one. Yeah. So go to YouTube and look up Closer, Further Away. Listen to that version. I like that version more. And if you've seen the movie Seven, the opening credits of that was yet another version of Closer. And what's funny on the bread bag, there is no wrong color for it. I could have gone over with a black wash and grayed it out more, and it would still be right. These things came in like 20 different colors, varying from browns to grays to the canvas khaki color. Yeah, you notice I'm not trying to do too much more with his feet right now.
20 said worst movie ever made, that movie ruined everything.
What? 7?
At Almanac said it's amazing how great face is just after the wash.
Well, now I want to try something on the face. Because these washes are kind of like an oil wash. They have a surfactant in them, where you can almost go back and start scrubbing on it with a wet brush and kind of work them around a little bit.
At the model student 20 said yes.
Well, what do you expect from the director of Alien 3, model student? Did you want something happy? David Fincher doesn't do happy.
At Leo 2A7BK said take a band like Simple Minds. Made all their songs 12 inches long. Had to cut them down for the albums. Still would be too long today for airplay. What the hell? We are killing good music.
Oh, good music died when shows like American Idol became popular and Pop Idol. Because it taught generations that they didn't have to be good musicians or good songwriters. They just had to sing covers really, really loudly and well. And that's still subjective. We got decades of cover songs out of that. So, yeah, if you're asking what happened to music, we voted it into mediocrity.
At Almanac said I soon want to see what movie Fincher actually set out to make before the studio butchered it all the way through production.
What, Alien 3?
At the model student 20
The
said the water
Fincher's cut of Alien 3 is out there. It's on the quadrilogy. At least the closest thing we can get with the ox and all that. Okay, let's get this really thinned out.
As George Davis 7629 said imagine if you didn't get the likes of Fleetwood Mac and the Arnhem Brothers because the songs were too long.
I don't know, I think the world could do without fucking Hotel California. Oh. I don't even think Fincher knew what he wanted to do with that movie, to be honest.
At Almanac said he never got to film half of the movie he envisioned. T. At George Davis 7629 said Allman Brothers. At the model student 20 said Eagles success for Joe, he is awesome.
Oh, fucking Joe Walsh is great. His Vote For Me album is one of the funnest albums I grew up with. But just like the Eagles, look at Phil Collins. Look how different his independently produced albums are compared to the Genesis albums.
At the model student 20 said the caliber of musician in the 60s 70s will ever be unparalleled.
Well, it's a good thing Phil Collins got his start in the 70s along with Peter Gabriel, when Peter Gabriel was the original lead singer of Genesis.
At the model student 20 said Harold. At the model student 20 said there go my fingers.
You mean paralleled? No, what I mean is you could tell that Phil Collins, outside of Genesis, still liked making...
At Almanac said in Genesis was an
Yeah,
experimental punk band.
but you could tell that Phil Collins still liked making poppy music. But in those albums was also a lot more personal stuff, too.
At the model student 20 said most people have never heard Phil play like early Genesis or Brand X.
You know what? I'm glad he was able to take over as the lead of Genesis, though. He brought more life to the group with the decisions that he made. Some of the stuff that was going on there, they were verging on the too artsy-fartsy with what Peter Gabriel was wanting them to do. The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway was a bit acid trippy.
Knew what the industry needed, gave it to them with spades, and made more money than all of them except Peter.
Oh, Peter just kept being Peter, you know? But he worked better as an independent artist than he did as a group artist, I think.
Had Almanac said both Peter Gabriel and Genesis benefited from Phil Collins becoming new frontman.
Oh, yeah. And Peter Gabriel had some good stuff in the 80s. You know, we had Sledgehammer, Big Time, you know, Shock the Monkey, all that. But tell me Steam was not him at his peak. That album had so many good tracks on it.
At the Model Student 20 said Peter was in on the ground floor of digital formats like DAWs.
Oh yeah, I have
Had Almanac said
one of his albums was the first totally digitally produced album. It was recorded and produced completely digitally.
smiley face.
Hey Modular, how you doing? Long time no see. It was one of the first CD albums, but it was also one of the first recorded in digital.
Said he's made more money in tech than as an artist.
There's nothing wrong with that. And thanks to Peter Gabriel, we got a healthy Aardman Studios out of it.
At the Model Student 20 said high modular.
Yep, Modular is one of my OG Twitch people. How you been? Yeah, that's coming to life quite nicely. There's a reason I'm not worrying about his jawline. You'll see here in just a moment why.
At the Model Student 20 said no, he's a literal genius. Most Brits are though. Grinning face with sweat emoji. At Leo 2A7BK said Peter Gabriel's voice always catch my ear. You could also mention Ultravox.
One of his newer songs, he really, I mean, he's always busy, I know that. But he really hasn't, you know, done a lot that's noticeable. The last song I remember him doing that gained any traction was for Wally. But before that, I remember the song The Tower That Ate All the People. If you want to hear something different for Peter Gabriel, look that up. Okay. Okay, where did it go? Now here's where it gets tricky. It's a really simple thing to do. You can do it in 35th scale too if the detail's prominent enough.
Peter Gabriel is to music, what George Lucas is to movies. The major lasting impact of their genius is on the technological advancements that moved the entire industry forward.
Well, Modular, funny enough, about 2.5 years ago I changed jobs too. Had to do it for my own physical and mental health. Here's how I do 5 o'clock shadow. It helps that he's already got like a goatee going on, but you mix up you can use a medium brown, but you want to get a cooler tone of flesh tone, cooler and darker, and just go along on the edge of the jaw.
Same reason, carrot, carrot.
Yep, things just did not go well. There was a change of leadership, and I decided, you know what, this isn't working anymore. They weren't listening to me. They weren't hearing me. I guess I was too old for their plans. Yeah, the tower that ate all the people was used in Red Planet, but it was around before then. And it got a couple different remixes and remakes too. So if you don't have the exact like texture for the facial hair, just lightly drag the brush on the skin, stipple it. It's kind of like dry brushing, but not exactly.
Modular 1138 said you look healthier, I have to say.
Thank you. Yeah, you probably saw me. The last time I remember you being here was right before I changed jobs. And that's back when my phone going off would cause problems, you know? So. But it was bad enough that other viewers even noticed it, that when my phone would go ding, I would kind of recoil a bit. Get some of that mustache going. I'm trying to play with the detail that's there. Oh. But yeah, I'm still here. I'm on at least 2 days a week. The new job's going well. Still wears me out a bit, but not in that bad way. I don't dread getting out of bed when my alarm clock goes off anymore. So we're gonna just run a thin glaze of it through here.
Time for fundamental changes.
No, it wasn't even PTSD, dude. It was like literal initial reaction. Because it got to the point where nobody could do anything without calling me, and I'd tell them, you don't have to call me for every single thing you do. Just, if it's something important, leave a note. I don't need to be advised of every single thing that goes on when I'm not here. You know? And, I even took a 2-week vacation up to Washington and back during that time. And even on that vacation, I could not get the 2 weeks without that thing going off. And the new manager had the gall to pull the, oh, I figured you would have changed your attitude while you were gone for the 2 weeks. You mean the 2 weeks that I couldn't get away from work? Because they kept calling and messaging me? Because nobody else here seems to know what the fuck they're doing? So, yeah. As soon as she pulled that shit, and a couple other things, I came home that day, talked to the wife about it, and she said, yeah, get out of there. So I did. No parachute quit, and then I went and got my current job, been there since, and enjoying the fuck out of it. But yeah, needless to say, the original manager was a very manipulative person to say shit like that.
like his nose is covered in sunscreen.
It's an artifact of the camera.
Just as white as the badge on his arm.
It's blowing out because of the camera.
Modular 1138 said best decision.
But she knew that I'd been starting to not enjoy going in anymore. So she was on board with it. So I went back in the next morning, since I always arrived before anybody else did. It allowed me to, you know, turn off the alarm, go upstairs, take anything work-related out of my pockets and off my person, put them where they needed to be for security, go back downstairs, reset the building alarm, send a text, and leave.
Glad you found something better.
You know, so, and that's what I did. And aside from one or two people who were like, what the fuck just happened? Nobody tried contacting me after that, so. And I've run into a couple other people that in the meantime, funny enough, they've run into similar situations. And they were just volunteers there.
Modular 1138 said I remember you played Alien back then too and literally got a heart attack because of the Twitch alarm. Laughing face.
You see, that's Alien Isolation. You know, I still haven't finished that game. I've got it on the Xbox, but I still haven't finished it. Oh, there we go. Now I'm starting to get a feel for the face and these paints. There we go. Maybe I should give that game one more good old college try, huh? I got it on my Xbox. The thing is, I won't be able to have the Twitch alerts. Even... Yeah, the Twitch alerts never worked on that because I never streamed it using OBS. I just don't think I did. So... Yeah, that's just blowout from the camera. But you're not wrong, it does need to be toned down a little bit. But no, that game in and of itself is enough to give people heart attacks. I'm just putting a slightly darker mix of the highlight color on there, just to knock it in a little bit. It'll probably still appear a little bit bright. I think that's about all I'm gonna be able to do with that face without screwing it up. Let's throw some dark brown slits in for the eyes. Anything larger, I'd try and give him pupils and irises and stuff, but this is too small for that. Some other people can do that. Unfortunately, I can't. My eyes have gone too bad. But that works. Let me try one more thing. Allie. At least Allie came down here with us. Yeah, in that time I also got 2 more cats. There we go. Found one abandoned, and my son's friend came over.
Said that's what I was just about to ask you.
Yeah, I found one abandoned at work before I left there. She was in a snow berm, about to be hit by plows. Saw her pop out with her brother. Somebody took the brother in, but nobody wanted her, so we have her now. And then a couple months later, no, not even a couple, like a month later, son's friend comes over and goes, I found this cat. You're the only cat people I know. Great. Nobody wanted him either. Yes, because while you're watching that and giving it more attention than you need to be, other things are going on.
Modular 1138 said, oh wow, you're becoming the cat lady from the Simpsons cheeky smiley face.
No, not yet, because I'm not going out and trying to find them. I'm not going to, like, adoption events and going, oh, I need that one too. They are just oddly winding up in my lap. Seems like every time one passes, we get another one. And Arnie's about to pass soon, so get ready. No. I need to take another break. It's been an hour. I'll be right back, everybody.
At Almanac said I'm just tired of hearing about it. Both options are bad for the movie going public.
Alright, we're back. But the camera's been taken over by somebody. Yeah, little jealous girl. Yeah.
Martico just followed.
Martico, thank you for the follow on YouTube. Yeah, hi girl. Hi pretty girl. Allie, don't chew on the camera. What is it with you and chewing on things lately? You're not a kitten anymore. Yeah, you are not a kitten anymore. Come on, over here. Come on. Good girl. Yeah. There you go, Trouble. Oh, okay. We're getting there. I'd say we're about 75% done on this guy. I need to see buttons on the shirt. Really? Well, I'm sorry you're not the center of attention, girl. Don't even think of drinking that. We're having Attack of the Monster Cat, I'm afraid. Is there something I can help you with, little one? It's been a while since we've had an alley invasion. Yeah. I need you over here. Come on.
Modular 1138 said if it fits. I sit parrot.
Stop it. Well, looks like we're looking at stripes for a bit. Allie, what's going on with you today, huh? You're being very, very picky. Yeah. You're being very snotty, you know that, girl? Hmm? What are you trying to chew on? Nope. No Q-tips for you. It's like having Godzilla in the city. Okay, you're going on the floor. Oh, it's okay, girl. Yeah, you're okay. Yeah. You want on the desk? We probably won't be on too much longer. I usually keep the streams about 3 hours now. We'll see. It just feels like I'm starting to run out of steam a little bit. Actually, where did my paper towel go? But that's also why I call her the alley monster. 'Cause she loves terrorizing things. There we go. Going back over the color I washed with the base color. Just popping out some of the highlights, bringing the base color back to the surface.
3 hours is not an insignificant amount of time.
No, it isn't. And lately, a lot of my lives have been getting the views where my shorts used to, so I don't know if YouTube changed the algorithm again, or something weird's going on, or I'm just hitting the right buttons. I mean, the seal short last night actually went back up to where they normally were, but lately they ain't been getting squat. Yeah, we're gonna have to do some touch up there, but we're not done with any of that yet. I also feel like I could have been at this point yesterday had other things not gotten in the way. There. Before I put that color away, bread bag. Good girl. She's sitting over there behaving, cleaning herself.
At Almanac said cat going, who are you calling other things? Face with tears of joy emoji, face with tears of joy emoji.
No, she's just sitting over here cleaning. Psst, psst. Allie. There you go. Good girl. What's in the way? What is... Oh, the camera. Okay. That's why you can't see the cat. The camera's in the way.
RS_studios.
Ah! Yeah, I don't think we had that 3 years ago either. Or did we implement that right before the job change? I forget now.
RS_studios said I think right before.
Yeah. It feels about right. Shake this up a bit more. Oh, she got down. Did you go to your donut? No, not in the donut. She's probably going to get a snack. Oh, the ones where like they're working on cars and stuff and flipping out. Just think of how many millions of gallons of water are going to the data centers for those cat shorts. I mean,
Almanac said lost me at AI Day, the model student 20. Horace_studios said I like the one where the cat's going crazy around the house looking for his ball.
mm-hmm. Okay, now we're getting some highlights showing up. It'll help me pick them out later and go back and do some shadow work. Okay. There we go. The hell?
At the model student 20 said yeah it's a thing now fair sure my friend plays with it not me I don't use it at all.
I thought you did some photos of your models that edited with it.
At the model student 20 said my
Ah.
son did that with an Instagram app.
Gotcha. Maybe I should start adding that tag to my shorts, because it seems to be a popular thing as no AI. Because believe it or not, there are shorts, like figure painting shorts showing up, where they're using AI to paint like Warhammer stuff. I think that's what some of these ones that we're seeing are, where they're just slathering paint colors on, and then the next thing you got a fully fledged face or leg or whatever. It's hard to really tell anymore.
At the model student 20 said God the iVids are awful unless they're the funny ones.
The thing is, the AI videos always reminded me kind of what your brain sees in dreams.
Almanac said any use of generative AI should require mandatory flagging on all platforms.
I heartily agree, Almanacs.
At the model student 20 said paint a realistic paint and in 20 seconds wow. Amazing. Rolling on the floor laughing emoji.
Yeah, but throw some ideas out there what you think the next stream goal could be. I'm kind of drawing blanks. What are we at on Twitch subs? What's the next level I need to get at? Well, I know we unlocked level 3. What's the next amount I can aim for that I haven't had yet?
At the model student 20 asks something sci-fi maybe? Modular 1138 said I have no idea carrot carrot.
Thing is, there's really nothing sci-fi out there I want. At least not off the top of my head. I could always finish up my 2001 pod. That's 1/8 scale, but it's so big it's hard to fit that on camera, so as far as subjects, I'm limited by what I can fit in front of the camera. Even if I put this all the way up and point it directly, it won't be close enough for you to really make out details.
At the model student 20 said gotta reach bedrock twitch twitch. Face with tears of joy emoji I'm old.
Yes. Yes, you are. You're old.
At Almanac said the billing boast 1 to 144 RMS.
Oh, God.
Blinking face with comment.
Thing is, we were just talking about the Trumpeter 200 scale one not too long ago. Isn't Billings the wooden kit, though?
At the model student 20 asks maybe a car or truck.
I do have one more Humvee I could finish. That counts as a truck, right? Or did you mean a non-military?
At the model student 20 said cars are tricky. I find them really hard.
They're not too tricky for me, just... I got a 16th scale 63 vet I could work on. I need a new grill for it, though. I bought it as is off eBay. The kit hasn't been re-released since the 80s.
20 said they're so clean grinning face with sweat emoji.
Repair what I've damaged down here. I went on a little trip down memory lane last night, too. Somebody has uploaded the original attraction videos, like clean edits, not like somebody's camcorder version of it, but clean copies of it. The original Star Tours and Captain EO.
At the model student 20 said I know the kit it goes for a substantial amount nowadays.
The only thing I'm really missing that'll keep me from finishing it is the lower front grille. So I've just been looking to see if I can find any like custom 63 vets that had like different grill arrangements put there. Because I've already got the third holes opened up on the back for the 6 taillight option. Yeah, if I'm spending $500 on something, it's going to be either going into savings for the Humvee or it's going to be another RC tank. Or a 3D printer like the Saturn IV or what are they up to now? The Saturn 8 16K? Yeah, that PG Falcon, to me, is not worth the money. I know it's a good kit, but it is not a $500 kit. I'm sorry. And I'd still prefer the Fine Molds kit over it. That kit was fun. Plus, I like the Empire version better than the A New Hope version. He's a little dusty. But that's already been done. And this is done in scale with the Good Smile RoboCup and Ed 209 kits. But yeah, that's my take on Kane. Yeah. Hit it with the Spice Weasel. Well, how are you supposed to know I'd done it already?
That's awesome.
God, I did that thing like 3 years ago, too. That was one of the first models I printed with the Saturn II.
An almanac said that is just lovely. Modular 1138 said the spice weasel is one of my favorite parts of Futurama characters.
Yeah, the Spice Weasel has become something that we quote here now, too. More like, hit her with the Wash Weasel! Bam! I'm still looking for good files for Huey, Dewey, and Louie from Silent Running. I think Golden Armor makes them. Or I could do those Aliens Colony vehicles I was always talking about. But I'm giving you all a chance to have your say on what you'd like to see next. Allie's back on the couch. We got more people coming in? Wow. Welcome in. And just remember when you're painting your figures, You're never really supposed to see them upside down, so any flaws you see when you hold it like this, ignore them.
Had Almanac said from a technique perspective, it would be interesting to see maybe a Star Trek Enterprise build and how you do lighting and the panel changing of the home.
Where am I? No, we're going over here. Now it's upside down. Travel pod, refit, Defiant, Runabout, TOS, Bird of Prey. Uh-oh. Did I just break my camera stand? Oh well! Yeah. But that's the other reason I'm asking, because right now it's getting difficult for me to think of things that I haven't done already. And I don't want to break the bank doing it either. But yeah, on YouTube you can find the original actual videos for Captain EO and Star Tours. Not as fun without the motion control ride, and Captain EO doesn't work as well without the 3D glasses. But still fun little trips down memory lane. The one I wish they hadn't taken out was Alien Encounters. That thing was awesome. I'll need more lead time for something like that. I have to go out to the shed outside. The turbo laser is out there. It's on the shelf above the 1.6 Leopard 2A6. But I also have both versions of the Katinga in scale with the Enterprise. That's over there. I have the Reliant, but I don't want to touch that until I move. Because I don't want to damage it in case something goes weird with it. Because right now it's irreplaceable.
At the model street at 26, suppose you could build a hangar display for your Humvees with lights and whatnot.
They're all so different, they need their own unique little location things. I don't have the room for individual spots like that. I'll probably just work on doing the groundwork for the cicada then. And the back's starting to hurt. Which means we're getting near the end of today's episode of What the Hell's He Doing Now? That and I really do need to eat something. It's been over 3 hours. Almost 4. We'll have to put some metallic on his belt buckle, hit up his buttons. We're almost there. So there might be a short form up tonight, if not tomorrow or the next day. I think it's out there for download. So that's where we are right now. Still have some more work to do on the STG. I want to highlight some of the details a bit with some metallics. Put some more wood grain in the stock. That'll go there. Then work on his boots, finer details, groundwork, and then some earth effects just to kind of join it all together. But it's getting there. Almost done. So thanks everybody for watching. Thanks for the new people that have followed, and thanks for the old people who have come back. Alex, I'm glad you're doing okay. Modular, good to see you again. And yeah, my next stream day should be Sunday. I'll try and get one in some point in the middle of the week. I'm going to be doing another 5-day stretch, so if I'm not too worn out, maybe Wednesday, Thursday time frame. If not, next Sunday. And I'll just keep working on stuff and putting shorts up on the YouTube side. So thanks again for hanging out. Probably work on this guy next stream. And yeah, take it easy. Have a good night.